Welcome back to the Rowan's podcast. I am the Rowan. This time I will have counted correctly. This will be episode 9. Last episode I said it was episode 11 when actually it was 8. So, yeah, here we go. Episode 9. Today we are going to delve back into ADHD. I still have not worked up the courage to ask the two people I want for to be guests to be my guest, but I promise you I will work up the courage soon. And that will be a totally different subject matter. But there was something I wanted to touch on today as far as ADHD goes, and that is the tendency for people to call ADHD a superpower. Is it really? Is it really a superpower? And that's what we're going to delve into, that question. ADHD, is it really a superpower? Well, in my opinion, no, it is not. And this is probably going to be very unpopular, but I do not think that's the right way to go about describing it at all. I understand the reason why it started being called that. My understanding is that it was called a superpower for children, so that children would feel better. They wouldn't feel so ostracized. They wouldn't feel so that they were so much different. That they did not feel bad about their traits. And I will not call it symptoms like ADHD symptoms or autism symptoms, because I feel like that just equates it too much to a disease. Like it has to be cured. And it's not a disease. It's just a different operating system. And so therefore, every operating system has a different way of doing things and a different traits, as you might say. So I believe that it was a way to make children feel more comfortable about their traits. But I believe this is not the correct way to go about it, although I understand it, and I will never yell at anybody for doing that, because it may give some children comfort, and even adults, to make them feel a little bit more accepted or whatever. But I think really what needs to be done is not make it glorified or make it seem whatever. I think it should just be more awareness should be out there, and more understanding, and more of an integration between the neurodivergent community and the neurotypical community. If it's more integrated together, I think there won't even be a need for that type of a label. And that is a label to me, and I don't like labels. But we will have a little bit of fun with this, though. Despite the fact I don't agree with it, we will have fun with this. So we'll look at some of the traits and how you could equate them to be superpowers, or mistakenly equated to be superpowers. Time blindness, for one thing. Well, if you were to call that a superpower, we could say that we have time travel, that we travel through time and we don't even know it. We can lose track of time like crazy and not even realize the time has gone past. Now, I'll give you an example. When my daughter was a baby, my dad had drove me from our town to the city to go shopping, and it was about a 45-minute drive. So he drove me, took me to Meijer's, and I went into Meijer's to go do a little bit of shopping. In my view, I was in there 10, 15 minutes, 20 at the max, my view. Okay, when I come out, my stepmother was sitting in a car with my dad, just finishing giving my daughter a bottle. We left my stepmom at home, 45 minutes away. Okay, and she had time to drive, 45-minute drive, and feed my daughter a bottle while I was in the store. And this is only because my dad had said I'd been in there so long that my daughter had started to get hungry, and he wasn't sure how to do whatever, and he called my stepmom. So you got to figure that was probably a good hour or more that I was in the store and I didn't realize I was in there that long. And still to this day, I have no clue how I lost track of all that time. I don't know where it went. It's just one minute I was in there getting my stuff, hurrying, getting out, and the next minute my stepmom was there, and uh, things like that happen to us, and it is not intentional. So it does. I don't know. No, and losing track of things. Always losing track of things. Something can be in our hand and be gone the next minute. So it's teleportation. We have teleportation powers because and the stuff will just appear in weird places that it should never be. Like no logical person would have left it there. I know my husband has left the peanut butter in the fridge. Now some people do put peanut butter in the fridge. We never put peanut butter in our fridge. And I found it in there twice. Dumbfounded. I was looking at it like, what? And for me, like I can have something in my hand and it'll just plain disappear. Like my father-in-law, one day I had just found something that I'd been looking for a while. And I was so excited that I found it. I had it in my hand. My father-in-law come over. And I went into the kitchen to go, hang out with him. And at the same time, I had been cooking something. Okay. And I remember going in the kitchen, having it in my hand, and that was the last I seen of it for days. I could not figure out what happened. I kept thinking, what was I doing when he was here? What was it? And I just couldn't figure it out. Like, where could I have put it? And then I sat down one day. I got really tired not being able to find it. And I sat down. I really, really thought, what exactly? Now go through your head, just exactly what were you doing? And I remember that I was cooking something and I needed to go into the drawer to get a spoon out. Well, no, it wasn't a spoon. I was getting out chopsticks because I had made ramen and I wanted to practice. I just have a thing. I want to learn how to eat with chopsticks. So I went in to get that and I had the thing in my hand. And I thought, maybe it's in the silverware drawer. So I went and I opened up the drawer, and there it was, laying right there in front of me. But the thing is I know I'd been in and out of that drawer before I even was looking for the thing. Now, why did I not see it when it was in there? Was it just because my mind was so focused on finding the silverware I wasn't looking, like see the forest for the trees for the forest, I don't know. But there it was. I had dropped it in there when I went to get out the chopsticks. I don't know. So there we go. So far we have time travel and teleportation. The hyperfixation, hyperfocus, I had a hard time trying to find a superpower for that other than like an intense focus. I mean, normally, I hate to say it this way, but we are so scatterbrained, or at least I am. Cannot remember anything, cannot focus on anything. 50 billion things running through my head. Cannot hyperfocus. Like my youngest son, I'll give him as an example. When he was little, he would constantly go, moving. But yet you give him a video game, he would sit still. Well, not exactly sit still, but he would sit and play for a long time. But his feet would be kicking the whole time he was playing. That was the only thing that would be moving besides, his hands and stuff. But yeah, it was like an intense focus. And like for me, I know if I'm at work and I'm focusing on a task that I'm doing, like everything else around me disappears. The only thing I see is like that task. Everything else, I have no awareness of anything else. It's just that thing. And I know it's probably not a good thing. And then we have like out of the box problem solving, out of the box thinking. And I really don't know what kind of superhero power that would be, but it is an advantage. I know I look at things differently. Like if you give me a challenge, a problem that's a big challenge and you need to find a solution for it, and I take on that challenge, I will think of it every single way that you could come at it. around the back door, through the side, up and down, over hill, anything. I will, I will find the answer. Or if I really want to know something, I will dig and dig and dig until I find it. I will not let it go. Or, I will just like, just, I do things that my husband says that I don't think like normal people. Not at all. And actually, he's not the only person that's ever told me that. I don't think like normal people. And I'm actually quite proud of that I don't, because why be normal? Because normal people can't, a lot of times they don't have that creative spark to kind of like go around and, hey, what about this? you know, um, I had a really good friend. Her and I used to go picture taking, and we'd take off in her truck for hours, just driving. And we'd just drive along the road, drive along the beach, drive along, and up by the mountains or whatever. We'll just take pictures, roadside pictures. And one day we were driving along the beach. I was like, hey, stop. I want to take a picture of that. And it was a tree that had fallen over into the lake. Well, it wasn't completely over. It was like the trunk of it was over, and some of the branches were in it, but it was still kind of up enough where it wasn't completely submerged, but it was farther back in to the water. I thought that's really pretty, and the sun was starting to set, type of thing, and the sun sets over the water right where we were at, and the angle would have been really cool. So she said, okay, and she's thinking, stop on the side of the road there. I'll jump out, run onto the beach, take a picture, and come back. Yeah, no. We're talking me here. No. I march right into that lake with my camera, all my clothes on, up to my thighs, in the water, just to get a specific angle of that tree. And then that wasn't good enough. I had to walk around some more and take all sorts of different angles, get lowered way down into the water, things like that. And I come out back to her truck. She just looks at me, shakes her head. Man, you're crazy. I used to take off into the woods, because there'd be like a wooded area by the beach too, and I'd just take off into the woods down these little hills and these little cliff type areas. And she'd be yelling down at me, "You be careful down there," because she couldn't follow me. And just to take like a weird angle, or I would lay on my belly and take a real hyper up close picture or something, And I don't like to take big scenery pictures. I like to focus on the little stuff, the minute details, the stuff that nobody really looks at, because that's where you find the most beauty, I think. And like, I used to take pictures at the house I used to live in. I used to walk around early in the morning when there was dew all over the grass. And I would walk around my yard and my neighbor's yard, who had a bunch of flowers and stuff, and they didn't mind. And just to get really up close and take really close up pictures of dewdrops and flowers and sometimes bugs and stuff that are with the dewdrops. And I got some really nice pictures that way. Because, yeah, sure, I could have just took pictures of the flowers, stand back, take pictures of flowers, but what's the fun in that? See those little minute details. God made the world beautiful for a reason. Let's enjoy it, and I mean, I would get soaking wet from all the dew, but I haven't really done that a whole lot lately. I've got a new camera and I'm still trying to learn it, and I'm kind of scared to use it because I'm afraid I'm going to break it, because it's kind of expensive and it is very complicated, and it might be a little bit too much camera for me. But it does take very good pictures when I get everything right. But I have a thing, like with our memories, my memory is crap. So I'll figure out the settings, and I'll figure out the way that I'm supposed to do something, and I'll learn it. And it's fine for that time. But if I don't use that camera again for a few days, up to a week, a month later, I'll forget exactly what and how to do it. And it won't, like I said before, things don't stick in my head unless I repeatedly do it. So I haven't used it enough to get it stuck in my head. So I suppose thinking out of a box, looking at things a different way, I don't know what superpower that would be, but, if it was a superpower, it would probably be I don't even know what that would be. But like I said, I really don't like it being called a superpower because I think not only does it diminish it in front of those who don't understand it. And what I mean by that is like if you're seeing all the, if you're neurotypical and you see all these funny, quirky videos about how it's a superpower and stuff like that, well, those people are not going to understand the complexity and of how it really does affect people. I mean, they'll just think, oh, well, I forgot my keys the other day, misplaced my keys the other day, so that must mean I have ADHD. No, the problem is deeper than that. It's not just once or twice you might lose your keys, or it's not a matter of aging where you do end up, you do lose some of your memory capacity and stuff like that. No, that's not it. It is a lifelong battle. And to equate it down to your traits being a superpower, it really diminishes the impact to, for the understanding, I think it is. Neurotypicals are not going to understand, and they may also not understand that it is a spectrum just as much as autism. Autism is a spectrum. ADHD is a spectrum too. And it doesn't mean just that, okay, this person has these traits and this person over here has these traits. It could mean this person has these traits on this day at this time because of this situation, wherein like maybe an hour from now, the situation might change and they'll have these other traits will be more present. Like you'll have good days and bad days. You'll have I'll have days where I'll just go through the day without a problem, just sail right through. I'll have days where my traits just weigh me down so bad I can't even function, and then I'm shut down for 2 days. There are days where I struggle just because I'm at work. There's days where I struggle just because I'm at home. It really does depend. And I might struggle with my memory one day, or the next day I might be perfectly fine with my memory. I may struggle with losing things all day long. Like if one thing, like me being the combination of both with my autism, I have to have everything the same way and I have to have a certain routine. Sometimes I don't stick to it. But if I don't stick to my morning routine in the morning before I go to work, something blows the schedule and everything off. My day is messed up for the rest of the day. Like my whole work day will be, Athena, you have just been introduced to Athena. My whole day will be just messed up. Apparently Athena wants to be a guest on our show. No, actually she's telling me quite loudly and rudely that she wants to go outside. Hang on a second. I'm going to pause for a minute and I'm going to find someone to let her out. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Thank you so much to my son who helped me with that. I ended up letting the dogs out, but he had to help me bring them in because there was a squirrel invader. Molly and Mabel decided they wanted to have cornered up in a tree, and yeah. The squirrels, just so everybody knows, the squirrel is just fine. The squirrel ran off and the squirrel is just fine. But yeah, they apparently really want to play with that squirrel. Anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, if one thing is off for me during the day, my entire day is messed up. Like I just feel like the whole day is wrong. Like just wrong. I don't know how else to say it. It's not like, I mean, it is like everything seems to go wrong, but it's just like the day itself is wrong. Like I'm trapped in like a different. I don't know. I don't want to say trapped in a different day. That doesn't even make sense. That's not even what I mean. It's just the whole day just seems wrong. Like it's just nothing's right about that day, no matter what. So, I don't know how that is for most people, but yeah. But I really wish that there was another way to describe it other than superpower. I really think, like I said, there needs to be more of a pause. Sorry about that brief pause again. My son had just came back in from untangling Molly's tie out because apparently Molly tried to climb up the crabapple tree from every different way she could just to get to that squirrel, and he went out in knee-high snow to try to untangle it. So, but if there was more of a way to get more of a understanding between the neurodivergent and neurotypical communities, I think it would go a long ways where we wouldn't need that type of superhero thing going on. And also, I think that we should just teach children and adults that it is not. I mean, the name itself doesn't help. Disorder. Well, now it's not a disorder. It's just a different operating system. Basically, it's different ways that our brains are working, and I think it's something that I think the name itself is the problem. Disorder. I don't know how else they should change it. And I have, it's kind of my understanding that they will never change it because it's so ingrained in the DSM and in other manuals and things like that it would be very difficult for them to change it at this point. However, I don't see why, because there was Asperger's syndrome for a while, and now all of a sudden it's not Asperger's syndrome, it's something else. So it's just all under the umbrella of autism. So why can't we change ADHD to something more not so negative? It's just that our brains work differently. That's the only thing. And there are times where I get down on myself about it, and there are times where I really have fun with it. And I think that's with everybody. And I think if we just make it more of a positive thing, but make it a real positive thing, not just making light of it with little short videos and stuff, which are informational and they do help. And like I said before, if you laugh about it, you're going to remember it. You're going to want to remember something more positive than you are negative. But I think it's important that the reality of it is made clear and not be glorified as, oh, it's a superpower. I'm sorry I'm banging on about that. It really irks me. It really does. It irks me to no end. I just want to I mean, I would never yell at anybody for using it that way, because if it helps somebody, then that's fine. But for me, if you came to me and said, oh, your superpower, no, that we would have a problem there. But if it helps someone else, I won't say that to someone else, but if it helps them to describe it, that's fine for them. But I really think we should find a different way to go about it. And I babbled on about this long enough, probably. Probably not the most fun podcast I've had. But stay tuned with me, if you will please, because in the future, I will be having guests. I really want other people on here that I could talk to instead of you guys just hearing my voice. There are people who I know that have excellent voices and excellent thoughts and opinions on things of a myriad different subjects that I think would be really fun to explore. And I don't know, I think maybe they would just want to talk to. So any of my listeners out there, if you are interested in just chatting with me about anything, let me know. Contact me in the comments. If you know me, message me, text me, because that for sure I will get. You can call me. That's hit or miss. But yeah, contact me. and we'll chat. We'll have a cup of coffee and we'll chat. And I am looking into some new apps and for editing and stuff. And I'm looking at trying to get some different cheap cheap equipment so that it would be easier to have a guest. And yeah, I would really really love to be able to sit down with somebody and just chat. I think it would be really fun. So you're more than welcome to contact me if anyone out there wants to have opinion or something. Although I will say this, I will not get into political discussions. So we will not ever have a political thing on this podcast. I will not do that. I have friends who are total opposite on what my political opinions are, and I love them dearly. And we all choose to agree to disagree. So we don't talk about politics and we don't fight about politics. I respect that they have their opinion. They respect that I have mine. And that's the way we go. We don't try to convince each other. We don't argue. We don't whatever. We just like, hey, that's how you feel. That's how I feel. We just don't discuss it. And I won't make my show into a political mess either. So I won't discuss that. So any other subject, okay, let me know. And and for lack of a really good editing system, I'm going to cut off now before I babble on way too much longer about who knows what. And but I appreciate you stopping by for another chat with me, and I hope you have a blessed day. And I thank you. More later. Bye.